Welcome to the Bulletproof Mindset Depression Support Podcast. My name is Gary Clinton. In this episode, we are going to discuss the chapter 9, the finale chapter of my audiobook, of this book that I'm holding in front of me. And if you haven't seen on YouTube, go to the YouTube channel at garycoachclinton. This is Never Give Up, How to Beat Depression with Confidence, Goals, and Thinking. Chapter 9, Goals. Dream big. And before I get into this chapter, this is going to be one of the biggest chapters of the book. Maybe not actually, maybe 4 or 5 pages, which, me and digressing a little bit, which I think actually adds to the audiobook extra things onto the agenda we have. So before we get into the book, obviously, let me talk about the sponsor of the podcast and of the YouTube channel, upskillonline.org and quasi.com. Upskill Online is a course website. You get 10 free courses on there. If you go on there, you'll be able to find out which course could be beneficial. And I know there is a goals course on there and very fitting with this current chapter that we're going to go through right now. And quasi.com, QWAZE.com, is a travel website in the description of this podcast and YouTube channel video as well. God bless. Let's get into this channel. Let's get into this video. Goals. Dream big. Dream big. I'd like you to go through this chapter with the knowledge that you are full of potential and I'm an immense slash inconceivable power. As we're at the beginning of one of the final chapters, the final chapter, I don't expect you to be fully cured, healed, or blessed with great mental health. I do often wish for the ability to cure people with depression in a matter of moments. Acne, beautiful spot. It's possible. I do expect you have gotten to this something. I do expect you've got something from this book. What was it again? Question mark. Oh, actually, going through the thinking process and consciously remembering what you've learned is actually a great idea. Literally. So a segue from the book. What did you get from the book? And that is a good thing to actually think about. It doesn't matter what I have said. It's actually a good thing for you to think about. So therefore you get a feedback or remembrance, or just you're implanting the lesson that you learned back to the book. But if for some strange reason you haven't got anything from the book and you'd like to gain something, then this could be a number one place to look. Goals. Take away from the book. Some people don't like the idea of goals. Some people don't like the thought of goals. And maybe you need to change the word for you. People have come up short on their goals throughout their whole lifetime. Maybe it's time for you to say intentions. Maybe it's time for you to say focus. Maybe it's time for you to say energy use, or something along the lines of achievements or accolades you want to get. And these different words have maybe different associations and something you can get behind. Okay, so that's maybe something you can get from this book. You're going to have an intention. Goals are still good. And people ask you what your goals are. They're not going to ask you what your intentions. They're going to ask you what your goals are. And you can say that, you can say that I'm going to change this. I don't like actually goals because I come up short with my goals. So I'm going to change it to intentions, and I hit my intentions. Okay, back to the book. Now, what's the problem? Not all problems are bad problems. Some problems are good problems. Too many clients, too much money, too much free time, which can definitely turn into a bad thing. But too many, too much is good problems that you can have. The fact is that people have small goals and end up hitting them or falling short. Devastating. There are 24 hours in the day, right? We cannot have more hours. Wrong. We can. We can delegate. We can give other people money to go get the bread. We can put hours into the thing that will make us our dreams happen. So great from the book. I recently got a VA, personal assistant or virtual assistant, and they do a variety of tasks that would take me hours to do, such as creating Instagram reels. What I mean by that Instagram reels is Instagram stories promoting quasi upskill online. And these, she's created 30 of these reels, 30 of these stories for each one, quasi, upskill, and even my own personal brand of Bulletproof and the podcast itself. So if you go into my Instagram, you will definitely see a story today, right now, no matter what day it is, about this promotion, right? Promotion. I wouldn't even say it's promotion, but it's kind of promotion, yeah, for sure. And she created all of them, and then she's already automatically scheduling them posts as well. So that can multiply your time. And there is 24 hours in a day, and you can multiply your time. Maybe you're not at the level to where you have a virtual assistant or someone to help you out there. You don't need to have one, but it's definitely something in the future that you can have. Think of ChatGPT as well in this day and age. I hear ChatGPT 5. It's great how I say ChatGPT 5. Maybe when you're listening, it's 15 years in the future, and we've got ChatGPT 18. But as ChatGPT 5 is coming out, it's like AGI is apparent, automated general generative information, something along the lines. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's a line where it's kind of like talking to Alexa, but Alexa at a different level, where Alexa, you purchase and order these foods. We don't really have this in Ireland, but in America, order them foods with this certain amount of budget and these kind of nutritional beneficial intakes. It's very interesting that the levels it's getting to, and you multiply your time in these regards. You can use things like ChatGPT, and I use Task8. Task8 is a automated service, and it's going to be in my link tree as well. So it's fascinating what you can do out there in the world, and I tell you, it's absolutely brilliant. Anyhow, let's get back to the book. If everything is practice, when was the last time you put some time into making your dreams come true? 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes a day certainly has to be worth it, right? Well, with this book, I'd like to think, I'd imagine and like to think you're one step closer. Whatever way you see it, this is a good move. You are spending time on your dreams right now. Napoleon's 6 steps for goal achievement from Think and Grow Rich. Segue from the book again. Think and Grow Rich being one of the biggest best-selling books of all time, meaning that it has over 100 million copies sold and it's in the top 10 of best-selling books ever, and still is flying up its sales every single day and week and month. So the 6 steps for goal achievement from Think and Grow Rich are: number 1, fix your mind on the exact amount of money you desire. It's not sufficient to say I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. 2, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for your money. There is no such reality as something for nothing. And this is aligned with the thought process of what will you give, but so segue from the book, it aligns with what service you will give to the world. It aligns with how do you conceive or your idea of you making this. So what's your kind of pathway to it? And that might be a goal in itself to discover. What's your vehicle that you're going to use to achieve your goal? Is it a dropshipping business? Is it a CBT business? Is it a ChatGPT business? So what's your vehicle that you're going to get there? So what do you intend to give? And give doesn't mean, you can say your time, you can say you give your money, but what service are you going to give the world? Okay, number 3, back to the book. Establish a definite date that you intend to possess the money you desire. 4, establish a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whenever you're ready or not. Put this plan into action. Number 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for that acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for that money and describe out and clearly the plan you intend to accumulate it. Number 5 is basically just getting the other 4 steps in a short in one point. So number 6, read out your written statement. So write out was the start of the last one. Number 5, I'll read it out again. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. So number 6, read your written plan aloud twice daily, once before you retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in the possession of the money. And this thing here I have in front of me is a goal card, and this goal card is very, very important. It's very important for people to have. It's very funny that I have my wallet beside me so I can pull this out of my wallet. But this is my own personal goal card. I've gone and printed this off Canva, and I've got 500 of these. I held a personal development event in a hotel a while ago, and I brought all these to the event so all the participants could have it. It says gold card, and on the front of it has kind of a few quotes. And let me read them out to you. This is a big segue from the book for a moment, but it's very useful. I'm going to read out the points on the back as well. So my gold card signed, you want to sign yourself, your partner, Gary Clinton. And here's a couple of quotes from a couple of people. So number 1, you become what you think about. Earl Nightingale. Next, a man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Marcus Aurelius. And Albert Einstein, a great one. Again, remember what number 6 said. It says, as you read it, see and feel yourself believing that it is achieved right now in the possession. Right. So the 3rd quote on my goal card that I've created here. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Where you've heard it, act as if, be it until you are, be it until you are it. So Albert Einstein says everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. So he's literally saying if you feel it, you be it, you are it, you cannot not get it. This is not philosophy, as he says, this is physics. So this is very important. You have to, when you read this goal out, you have to say to yourself that this is very, very true. This is real, and I'm feeling it, and I'm believing it. So I am. So the other side of the card, we got this written statement. The written statement for you is different from me. I have here on I intend to earn 5 figures from my coaching business. I love helping my clients who are amazing to work with, and by the date of X, Y, and Z. So I might as well put a date on it right now while I'm with you, and just put it out there to the world. And I'm going to say by July 23rd, 2026. So then I've also got another few bullet points on the end of it there. And the few bullet points I have is, remember, this is a subtle feeling, an aura of confidence, a still small voice, right? And these points are very important that I think if you can resonate with any of these, and this is why I added them on, because you've got to have a philosophy, and then you've got to have stuff to back up your philosophy. And when I say philosophy, you got to have an idea, and you've got to have things to back up your idea. So I'm trying to back up the idea with you to why you need to feel this. Next, it is pointless to read a goal without feeling it and having faith. Repeat, I believe, I believe, I believe with your goal. Next, if your goal is neatly placed in the realm of possibility, it can come quicker than expected. And what I mean by that is, if you want to be a billionaire tomorrow, it's not that it's impossible, but it's so incredibly unlikely that you're not going to attempt. So if you have something that's within the realm of possibility and you can do it, you're really going to hit kind of a gold mine. And what I mean by that is if it's placed neatly, if it's in the Goldilocks zone, if your goal is in a little bit to stretch you, but it's also in a little bit of place where it's not too comfortable, it's not too easy. Because if it's too easy, you don't want to hit, you're not going to do it, right? We can fall off on that. If it's too hard, you're definitely not going to do it. So it has to be placed in this Goldilocks zone for your goal. And then when it's in there, you can actually feel it becoming a reality. So another one, next one. Don't underestimate the power. Don't underestimate the amount of ways your goal can happen. Expect the unexpected. And this is a fascinating thing that I wrote down. And I don't have the whole list right in front of me as I'm talking, but the list is this. It's, if you have a dream car, you might bump into that person with the dream car. If you buy a scratch card, you might win the lottery. If you walk down the road and you start a conversation with someone, they might have information that you actually wanted to have. If you talk to anyone in any shop, they might be able to help you immensely. If you go to a conference or a personalized seminar, you might be able to get information from there that is just very fascinating. You might just get one piece of nugget. So you expect your goal to come this way from, in my example, from my coaching services, but that is one avenue. Did I open the avenue of my books? Did I open the avenue of my courses? Did I open my avenue of all possible realms? So you can't close the door on any option. You have to just realize that there is things that you cannot control that could positively benefit you. Yeah. So don't underestimate the amount of ways that your goal can be achieved. Right. I don't think it's just one way. Next, you may not start with belief, but actions towards your goal, belief grows. And think of this. If you have a certain momentum, if you've got a car going one direction, let's say it's San Francisco and the roads are going down, yeah. If you push the car at the start and you stop it, you'll be able to stop, right, very easily. But if you push the car and it's going down the road, yeah, once it goes down one, it's going to be very hard to stop it and get in front of it, right? What I mean by that is you've already got momentum going in one direction. You've already got a thesis of life. You've already got a philosophy of life that's going in one direction. And that trajectory, that belief, that current paradigm that you're moving on, yeah, you can kind of see like a timeline in front of you of what your next step will be, your next 5 minutes, your next 5 hours, maybe even your next 5 days, what is kind of going to happen in your life. Now, you might not get it to the exact T, but you can kind of predict what's going to happen, particularly around if you spend your money, you won't have money in the future, if you have diet. So we can kind of predict the future. But what I mean by you're on a trajectory right now. Now, as you change your direction to go achieving your goal, it's in the Goldilocks zone, then you're not going to have the belief out the get go. You're not. But as you start to take actions that are aligned with it, your belief grows. And this is a very powerful thing because it reinforces the fact that you can do it. And again, if it's in the Goldilocks zone and you're taking actions towards it, the belief will just grow and grow and grow. And then it's part of you. And also, I suppose this isn't on my card, I don't think. I haven't read the other two that's left. But as you start moving towards a goal, as you start to achieve your goals, so you're going to be in a mindset like with belief, you've already got it. So, for example, like you take your legs for granted, you take your arms for granted. What I'm saying is, if you have a dream car, you've got to believe that you're driving the car when you're driving your actual car. And as you do that, when you're actually sat in your real car, in the dream car, it's gonna feel it's not gonna feel special, right? It's just gonna feel normal. It's gonna feel like a standard, and that's an interesting thought. Yeah. It's like you were born for this. This isn't a mystical, crazy thing, and you'll have glimpses of that while you're doing your dream, while you're having your dream, while you like as you're being grateful. You know, let's say you've dreamt of being in a penthouse and you're sitting there. You're gonna actually be grateful for that for sure. But that will be a norm at the standard when you're in a penthouse or you have a dream car. That will actually be a norm for you, or if it's just getting back on your feet. Because at the start of this, we talked about see and believe yourself to be it now, well, then that means you are it now, not in the future when it happens. You are it now. So you already are the actual goal. So it's not going to be a very special thing when you achieve it. It's actually going to be a very normal thing for you when you achieve it. And that's kind of the mindset you have to be in, or you will be in at least. You don't have to be in, you will be in. Next, put the date of your goal 3 months. Put put the date of your goal 3 months on this goal card. Be realistic and ambitious. Next one, write down things that are in alignment with a 6 month, yearly, and yearly goals. Right. So the last two there, I'm saying write down for this goal card a 3 month goal. Yeah. And then also, which I do have a 3 month goal on this, but I changed it to a 2026. So write down 3 month goal. Right. Write down a 3 month goal that is aligned with your 6 month goal. That's aligned with your 5 year goal. That's aligned with a 10 year goal. Right? So keep them aligned. Don't have 50 different goals going 50 different directions. And you can have 50 different goals, 50 different directions for sure. You know, you definitely want to have a physical standard. You want to achieve this in your financial life. You want to have this type of relationship. You want to grow into this type of relationship. You want to change your attitude and belief towards this paradigm. You want to view life in this certain direction or this certain aura, right? So write down your goal that's your aligned with the future one. So that's the goal card. If you want the goal card, I suppose I can send it out to you. I've got about 487 left. All right. So let's get back to the book. As you have that goal card, read it out to yourself in the morning time, by the way. And get back to the book now. This is the 6 step process, word for word, by the book of Think and Grow Rich. I hope there's no copyright. If you come visit me one day, you'll see I have stuck on my wall in my bedroom and I'll read it twice a day. Crazy or genius, I'll go with the latter. If you do this I do have it written over there on my mirror over here. I have my goal card. If you're doing this for 10 minutes or so a day, it's too much. Or so a day is too much for you, then you might have to rethink what you want. Okay. Now I see why I struggle with that sentence. So the start of the sentence. Let me go back a little bit. If doing this for 10 minutes or so is too much for you, then you might have to rethink what you want. Now, what I'm saying there in that sentence is if you are in the morning going, this 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, this is too long for me, you're screwed. You don't want your goal. You really don't want what you really don't want what you want. If you don't have 10 minutes to sit down, do a visual hypnosis tape or do an affirmation tape, incantation tape, a meditation, a visualization. If you don't have 10 minutes to do them in the morning or evening, you're crazy to think you're going to get towards your goal. Next, just writing down your goals with a date will surprise with the actions you can take. Let me have a segue from the book because there's a great story that I can give you, and I've talked about it on this podcast. I'm just checking through the remaining pages if I have that. No, I don't. So there was a study done in Harvard back in 1978, I believe, up to 1988, so 10-year study. And they had a class in Harvard, and this is just around monetary goals. They did have like happiness levels, confidence levels, but they're very hard to track. So The goal, the point of the experiment in Harvard was this. They asked the class, had you got goals? 84% said no. 13% said yes. And 3% said yes yes, and they're written down. Okay. So 10 years later, they come back. They ask them the question, where are you in your life? They analyze the life. 84%, that was the standard, that was the baseline, right? That was who they were, 84%. The 13%, they were earning twice as much more money than the other 84%. And then the 3% were earning 10 times the amount of the 97% combined. Now, I think it's 10 times. I'm not going to be so precise on that. And I don't have the dates exact. The 3% were earning 10 times more than the other 97% combined. So if you got 100 people, three of those had written their goals down. And this is the power of writing your goals down and getting connected with what you want. I can't explain to you, I can't express to you, how them things work. But it's like you're committing to yourself. So back to the book. You won't know during the action, but when you look back, you'll say, yeah, that was perfect. Or, wow, I should have listened to myself more. All you. People with goals succeed because they know where they are going. A person who is successful tends to continue to be successful. On the other hand, a person who is a failure continues to fail. It's because of their goals. One for the mind. Listen to the story. Magic touch. Think of a ship leaving a harbor and think of it with a complete journey mapped out and planned. The captain and the crew know exactly where it's going and how long it will take. It has a definite goal. 9,000 or 9,999,999 times out of 10 million thousand, out of 10 million times, it will get to where it stands. Why? Because it has a definite destination. Let's take another ship, just like the first one, only let's just not put a crew on it or put a captain at the helm. Let's just give it no aiming point or destination. We'll just set the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, you'll either sink or wind up on a beach on some derelict island. It can't go anywhere because it has no destination or guidance. Thanks to Earl Nightingale for this story and the godfather of personal development. Segue from the book. Think of your mind as kind of a subconscious thing, and your conscious mind listening to me right now is the captain. But the internal dialogue or the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind, which seemingly has like 97% or 90% of our actions. I'm not thinking about moving my arms right now. I'm not thinking about moving my lips. I'm not thinking about moving my eyes. Yeah, that's all unconscious. So that's the unconscious mind. So if I'm moving my leg, I'm not thinking about moving my leg. So it's clear that it has a massive indicator on where I go and what I do. So if we look at this unconscious mind, the unconscious mind is the people in the engine room. They are actually moving the engine. Now, you as a captain control the unconscious mind by giving it an order. So you give the conscious mind sends into the engine room. The engine room starts moving. Now, if you try to stop the boat, again, the momentum is going one way. You've got beliefs, paradigms, a trajectory that you're on. So you've given a command. It's going to take a couple of minutes to adjust. It's going to take a couple of moments to adjust. Now, if you're so hell bent on one direction, it's going to take weeks, months, or years to change. But you've got a command. You've got to be the captain and give this internal engine room a real shift of momentum or a real direction. And if you don't have a goal, you can't give it a direction. All right, let's get back to the book. We humans are the same to a degree, of course. For instance, if we're talking about goals, if you don't know where you're going, you'll go nowhere. If you have a plan or an idea or even a team, then you're miles ahead. I quoted Jeff Bezos earlier, and I'll do it again. It's always day one. Great. If I could plant a seed of success today, or if you could plant a seed of success today, do it. I talked to you earlier about planting a seed for success in your mind, and that is growing. Yeah, you're reading your book right now. You're reading a book. You're listening to an audiobook. A seed is growing. Yeah, a seed of personal development is growing. What's being said to you right now is positive content that is getting flushed into your mind, which is a great thing to have. So continue on that journey. I appreciate you for being here right now. And let's keep going in the book. So just like a seed, it won't grow overnight. It will take time to grow the seed, just like an oak tree or just like an obese person. It won't happen overnight. It's daily progress. Let's take another little story based on the seed of the mind. Suppose you're a farmer and you have a good fertile land, and the farmer has a choice to plant whatever he wants to plant. And he chooses to plant on this land, and the land doesn't care what he plants. He gets to choose. So what does he choose? What does he choose? He chooses. So it's up to farmer to make a decision. Now, remember, we are comparing the human mind to the land, because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. Segue from the book. You can watch this video, that video. You can listen to this person, that person. It doesn't care what you plant. The mind does not care what you plant. You get to plant what you want. You decide that. You're back to the book. It will return what you plant into it, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now, let's say the farmer has two seeds in his hand, one corn and one nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs two holes in the earth and plants both seeds, covering up the holes, and waters them and takes care of the land. What will happen? Invariably, the land will return what is planted. As is written in the Bible, as you sow, so shall you reap. Remember, the land, like the mind, doesn't care what you plant. Remember, segue from the book, that's been mentioned 5, 6 times. It doesn't matter if you're watching this cartoon, that cartoon, South Park, if you're watching Family Guy, if you're reading this newspaper, you're reading that newspaper. It doesn't matter if you're watching this YouTube video, that YouTube video. The mind doesn't care what you watch, but you are planting seeds as you are watching them things. Now, back to the book again. If you haven't got it, the mind doesn't care what you plant, just like the fertile ground, right? Back to the book. It will return poison just as wonderful abundance as the corn. So two plants come up, one corn, one nightshade. Now the mind is far more fertile and far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant: success, failure, a concrete work goal, or confusion, misunderstanding, fear, and anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it will be returned to us. You see, the mind is the greatest unexplored continent on Earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant. If this is true, then why don't people use their minds more often? Our minds are standard at birth. It's free. But things that are given to us for nothing have little value on it. Segue from the book. If I gave you a gold card for free, you probably wouldn't take care of it. If I gave you anything for free, basically, you're not really going to take care of it. Now, there's exemptions to the rule, but in general, things that we already have, we take for granted. So, yeah, just like you achieving your goal, you're already taking your goal for granted. In the future, it is what it is. You've already got it. So, what I mean by that is, you've got a house. When was the last time you were grateful for? You've got a bed. When we were grateful for? You've got a room. You've got a place. You've got work. When were you grateful for it? So it's kind of already a standard in the mind. It's in the background of the mind. Then we have to bring gratitude to the front of the mind, and then we're reminded of how great it is. But it's always in the back of the mind until we bring it to the front of the mind. Yeah. So we have to bring it to the front of the mind constantly, or it's just we don't really care about it. Now, of course, we care about it. If it was taken away for us, we would definitely care. But as it's in the back of the mind, it's almost as if we don't care. So it's free. That's why that our mind, just like fertile ground, is free. And the paradox, back to the book, the paradox, the reverse is true. Everything that is really worthwhile has come to us for free. Our minds, our soul, our body, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intellect, our intelligence, our love of family, children, and friends. All of these priceless possessions are free. But things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be, excuse me, a good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do this several times, even if his home burns down. We can rebuild it, but things that we got for nothing, we can never replace, like the soul, our dreams, ambition, personality, charisma, uh, confidence. All these things are free, and these things are the true priceless things of life. Now, that story is from, by the way, segue from the book for real quick. That story is from The Strangest Secret record, and I've listened to that tape over 300, over 400, maybe even 500 times, but at least 400 times. It's got to be at least 400 times. Honestly, I don't know how many times, but I've listened to that tape on repeat over and 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 over. And I keep going on. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You can search it up on Spotify. You can search it up on YouTube. It's about 39 minutes long, and it's one of the best tapes you're ever going to listen to. For me, at least. I don't know why I say that. It's one of the best tapes you're going to listen to. For me, it was one of the best tapes I've ever listened to. You Become What You Think About is in that from Earl Nightingale. The story I gave you about the ship, where there's no captain at the ship. He didn't talk about, captain is the conscious mind, and then the engine room is the subconscious. He didn't talk about that. He just said if a ship doesn't have any destination, it's going to be drifting around the harbor, and if it gets out, it'll be lost. And then the other story has is this one here. Your mind is a fertile ground. All the things you got for free, the confidence, personas, attitudes, dreams, goals, ambition, all them things are free. Soul, spirit, beliefs, body, these things are free and we take them for granted. Back to the book. Earlier on, I put this section as big dream. Why? Well, I mentioned why. If you were going to come up short, would you rather come up short on 1 million or 100 million? There are 86,400 seconds in a day. And I've heard multiple times it's the same energy from 1 to 100. And that's great to hear. So the same segue from the book, what I mean there is I heard it's the same amount of energy for you to achieve A compared to is to achieve B. Doesn't matter. It's the same. It's the same amount of time in a day. It's the same amount of energy, which is an interesting thought. And it's actually a really good thought. If it's the same amount of energy for you to achieve 1 million as it is 100 million, that's amazing. That's a great attitude to have. Okay. And that's great to hear. Back to the book. The same amount of time in a day, every day. Only there's so much you can do in a day. Be a lot of great things. Be it towards 1 or 100. Why not aim for the 100? Or heck, why not aim for the 1,000? You might mention it's a defensive mind. You might say you're not going for it. You're happy with just below. Eat my shorts. But that attitude, you've probably never written down your goals. Who's likely more to achieve their goals? The person who says I'm going to achieve the goals, or the person who says no way I'm going to achieve them? No way or yeah way. And whose attitude is going to be more in line with their attaining their goals? Look, I'm not going to achieve it anyways. Or hell yeah, let's do it. Segue from the book. And this is an interesting thing. And Henry Ford has the great quote. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're usually right. And if we take that extension, it's just something that you have to learn. If you think that you can't, you're not actually going to try. You're not. If you think you're never ever going to achieve that, you wouldn't try for anything. If you think you can, you're going to try. I don't really believe in trying. You're going to do things. I don't really buy into the idea of trying, but you will do the things. And I suppose on a category in the past, you will have tried X, Y, and Z. Well, you did them actions. Okay. Back to the book. Chapter 5. You become what you think about. What's your thoughts? They matter. What about their actions? Eating ice cream, watching football, partying all day, or reading or writing or planning their goals. As a saying going, it's not rocket science. It's doing the maths. How many people do I need to call to make a sale? How many times do I need to fail and to succeed? How many times do I need to plan after it fails? How many years will it take? What's that in days, hours, and minutes? What will I do with all the money I earn? How many sales will it take for my dreams to come true? For my dream of 50 million euros, that's a net worth. For this to come true, I would have to sell 50,000 programs at €1,000 per sale to reach 50 million. Can you see why Apple is so catchers? One iPhone, 1K, right? So I'd walk down Times Square on Christmas Eve and there's 120,000 people there, and I bet 50,000 have iPhones. So for my goal, I just showed you one way to achieve 50 million, 1,000 by 50,000. And there's 50 million. What about 2,000 by 25,000? That's 50 million. Or 1 times 50 million. That's 50 million. So there's not just one way to success. Do you see there's no one way to success? And there's no one way to recover that fits all. We're all different. We're all taking different paths. And you've taken different paths up until now. We might end up in the same places that how you get there does not have to be a struggle. It does not have to be pain or misery. It could be joy and happiness, euphoria, and prosperity. Segue from the book. I talk about life. Life is ... What is life to you? What's the word association that come up for you? Life is ... Misery, pain, struggle, hard, war. All them words are true, but it's also true that life is absolute, is grand. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's breathtaking. It's a journey. It's a roller coaster. It's whatever you want to call it. All of them are true. You get to finish the sentence, but from that sentence, you will live out a paradigm, a trajectory, a lifestyle according with that mindset. And I think you need to change your associations to that to make it more brilliant. And all of them are true. It's all of them are true. But which one do you want to have? Which lens do you want to put on your eyes and then view the world out of? That's up to you. You get to choose that. Back to the book. I wanted to end this chapter with there is one way, there is no one way to recover that fits all. And I will in a second. But I have to mention the theme of this chapter. If you do not have goals, a destination, or an idea of where you want to go, you'll drift around like a yacht with no anchor, waiting for something to happen. But eventually, you will end up with no petrol, 75 years old, aka 75 years old, and you'll be stranded in open waters waiting for the inevitable. Key takeaway from the chapter: there is not one way to success. There is not one way to recover. There is your imperfection, your imperfect, your imperfect, perfect way. There is your imperfect, perfect way. Remember, life is amazing. Be amazing because that's what you are. Again, life is dot dot dot. You get to finish sentence. So I have an idea page here, and I might as well run through that with you right real quick. Idea page. What suits you? Okay. What you plant, you will reap. As you sow, so shall you reap. And on this idea page, I just have basically quotes or sayings that I've written in this book that maybe we'll be able to, water them seeds that we talked about. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. What you put in, you get out. It's always showtime. Now is the time. Stay out of trouble. Some of my principles. Here are some of the guiding principles I live by. Principles. Just do it. Go for it. Campfire rule. Leave the camp as you found it or better. Have a great attitude. Be the person you want the world to see and be an example or a warning. Be an example or a warning to others. You can do it. You definitely can do it. And you need to have that belief. Be good, do good, get good. Be great, do great, get great. That is basically the audio version. I have one page about a summary. I have details of me, some acknowledgements, a list of helplines, and some outlines then of the chapters, a glossary of the chapters. I'm not going to go through all them with you right now. If you want the book, if you join the school program, Bulletproof Depression Support, I know a men only group right now as I have as you're listening to this, but that's for now. Maybe there's a different course as I say that. Maybe I shouldn't even mention that in this audiobook because it's going to be here for a long time. But the Bulletproof Depression Support Group, it's a place where you can grow communities, grow friends, and you can also be supportive in other people. You will get a copy of this book. You'll be able to read the glossary. You'll be able to read a bit of description about myself at the end of the book and maybe even the summary that I have there. You also get the other book that I've written. And the other book I've written is Your Emotional Scale. And here it is here if you're watching the YouTube video. This is not the cover I have officially for it, but this was the pre-cover. And Your Emotional Scale, you get that in the school community as well. I hope you've enjoyed this audiobook version of Never Give Up, How to Beat Depression with Confidence, Goals, and Thinking. It's been an absolute pleasure to read this book to you. I'm very proud of myself for completing this. And I hope you are very proud of planting and watering the seeds that you've listened throughout this book. I would love to see you, love to know you, love to get to know you. And I think it's a great time to take them opportunities like reaching out to people like myself. I might not be so hard to connect with as you think. But don't bring the world's worst energy and attitude towards me. I would appreciate that, and I think anyone would appreciate that. I understand maybe you're going through a rough time, and I want to help you through that rough time. But you don't have to bring that. And the old quote. Maybe I should have put this in there. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. If you want someone to help you, you have to be very open minded. You have to be coachable, and you have to have a willingness to change, a willingness or want to change as well. Maybe that's a goal that you want to write down. You want to change, but then you have to be more specific. Use SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. Actionable is the A. So specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely. And yeah. My name's Gary Clinton. I go by Gary Coach Clinton. This is the Bulletproof Depression Support Group podcast. Bulletproof Mindset, Depression Support Podcast. Sponsor of the podcast is Quasi.com and Upskill Online. Again, you get a course on upskill related to goals. You've got no reason to check out Upskill Online. And it would be a pleasure to see that you're taking steps into your own hands. There's a course on upskill, greatness. Type in greatness and you get that course for free as well. Greatness. You are great. You are dot dot dot. You are dot dot dot. Life is dot dot dot. You get to finish the sentence. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day today. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'll see you in the next episode of the Bulletproof Passion Sport podcast. Thanks.